right, we got, was Justin Herbert actually bad in the playoff game versus the Jaguars? I'm not gonna lie, I don't forgot so much stuff from this past season. So this game is not even in my memory. Is this the game where they were like down? This wasn't this past season. What year was this? This wasn't this past season because Jaguars didn't make playoffs this past season. This was like 2 years ago, right? If I'm not mistaken. They were a big like up like 24 or something like that. I don't know something, but yeah. Okay. Well, since I guess this is a controversial topic, was it Justin's fault? We're gonna find out. Trevor threw 4 interceptions before half and came back to win. That's crazy.
Let's talk about a game I think it's fair to talk about, the 2022
Shout out to Jack and
wildcard
Kruger.
round matchup between the
2022.
Chargers and the Jaguars. A game that has, I felt, gotten talked about a lot more after Herbert had a, admittedly, I think just bad playoff game most recently against the Texans. People have now brought up both of his postseason failures, but I kind of wanted to
Was the Texans his fault or was the Texans defense just that good?
go back, rewatch the first failure, and talk about how much of it was actually his fault versus how much of it was just the situation around him. Was he really to blame for this big blown lead? Well, first, let's talk about how they got the lead in the first place, right? It was a lot of stuff like the play you see on the screen. It's going to be a man coverage concept. You see the route on the screen and how this could get open. Herbert takes the snap. He looks in. As of right here, again, is it wide open? No. Is it a tough window? Also, no. Right? This is a throw that you want your quarterback to make, not a throw that they have to make consistently every time, but like one you hope that they, if you're going to win playoff games, one you got to make, right?
That look a little tough to me. I ain't gonna lie. Like he got to angle that out here, and it has to be low because the DB is on top of him. So if you put this too high, that's a PBU unless he just makes a tough catch. But you got to put that out here, and they got to be at the right angle so this dude doesn't bail off and make a play on it. Got to come out at the right time, right angle. So that at least from this angle, it looked like it's a tough throw.
Herbert here is going to be able to make a really accurate throw. He did a lot of this in the
Say
first
Herbo,
half. Again,
he
they
got a
went
horn.
27-0. Yes, a huge chunk of that was because Lawrence wouldn't stop turning the ball over in the first half. But a big chunk of it as well was Herbert was making some legitimately good throws. This play as well, sorry, the camera operator on the all-22 footage was a little bit shaky here. I'm going to flip the broadcast footage in a second so you can see the score. But just here, when we're talking about when they got the lead, I'll show the all-22 footage. You see on this play, it is once again a man cover.
I think I seen Keenan. Is this Keenan? I don't know if Keenan and Mike were healthy this game. Both of them were injured a lot that year. Keenan played. No, Keenan actually played a decent amount. Mike was injured a lot. Keenan played a fair amount that year.
Average concept that the defense is in, and Herbert's going to actually start off looking towards his left. However, when this play begins, I mean, you could argue nothing is really that open right here. Herbert's looking right there, though, as that is
he got time
to potentially gain some.
Got a little bit of time.
Not a lot of separation, but it's a 3rd down and 10, and Herbert kind of just says, well, why not just take this chance? But as you see, really accurate throw, and they're able to gain some yards here. So again, another very good play. So obviously, I mean, listen, they went up 27-0. The chances were that he played well in that stretch, right? And he did. Now, he wasn't actually perfect.
That
in
Keenan, Darius Davis.
Opportunity for him to go up by even more than 27.
JP, I don't know.
For example, this play, this is kind of the big one.
No, which, not JP.
This is a 3rd down situation. They're near the goal line at the 3rd, and it's at the 5-yard line right here. Zone coverage, you see the route on the screen and how it could potentially get open right here. However, when Herbert takes the snap, I mean, you see it works out even better. This is open. This is the throw that earlier I was saying that's a throw in a playoff game you want to see your quarterback make. This is a throw that in preseason game you want to see your quarterback make. However, the throw just gets away from Herbert. He misses.
Oh my gosh.
And set up for a field goal. So hey, it's quarterback make. However, the throw.
Oh my gosh.
This is a throw that in preseason game you want to see your quarterback make.
I think he anticipated Keenan because Keenan looked like he's taking off. I think Keenan just like slowed down. And I think the chemistry was off right there.
However, the throw.
He put too much on it. Yeah, Keenan was like, I'm open, so it's like I'm not gonna run extra. I'm already open. Boom, just turn around. And I think he anticipated Keenan to keep running deeper into the end zone.
Away from her.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. It still was a tad bit too high. It was a little too much power on that.
Herbert, he misses that one, and they had to
That's a
settle for a
that's a
field
free
goal. So hey,
TD.
it's 27-0 instead of 31-0. At the time, you're not too broken up about it, but obviously, as we know, the Jaguars came roaring back, and this was an issue. Now, a big part of how the Jaguars came roaring back was because legitimately the offense was scoring every single chance they got. I mean, this was their last 5 possessions of the game. Jackson
27-7, 27-14, 30, 20. 1, 2, 3, 4. Four straight drives with touchdowns is tough. Four straight touchdowns. Four straight drives with touchdowns is tough. Bro, imagine again. You add Travis Hunter, Brian Thomas Jr. You get some good play calling. The Jags could be nice. Not gonna lie. It's 14-5-5 before I like that. It's tough. And the rebounds and assists. Now Jags on paper got potential, but I don't know that it's just the
those
coaching,
last
man.
5 possessions of the game, they would ultimately
3 of those TD drives were less than 10 plays. Defense was folding. Oh wow, I did not even notice that. 9, 5, 7. That's crazy. 10 right here with the field goal. 14 is tough. They chopped them up. 14 is tough.
need 4
That's
touchdowns and a
surgical.
field goal to take the lead if they were going to win the game, and they got exactly that.
That is tough. That's a tough way to lose. 7, 14, 20, 28, 31. That's tough.
4 straight touchdowns and then a field goal as time expired. Like legitimately, they were perfect the last 5 possessions. So that was the biggest issue, right? But again, we're here to talk about Herbert. How
Okay, yeah, I'm about to say that. So how did the Chargers offense stall out? Defense was trash in the second half. Are you referring to the Chargers defense or the Jags?
well or how poorly did he play down the stretch? I have to say, he had some good moments down the stretch. Like heading over here, this is going to be a man coverage concept, and you're going to see the route he's looking towards. It's not necessarily the receiver you typically look towards in this situation, but it's a route with a tight end who's currently in line, maybe not expecting him to be running a route. That can help hopefully make things work. When this play begins, it's not like it's getting particularly wide open, but you know what? There is a window. If you can just sort of throw it over the top right here, this does have a chance of connecting, and so that's where Herbert is going to look. As you see, Herbert fires this, and
Ooh, okay. That's a good adjustment on that catch. I would have expected that to come over his head. I'm not gonna lie. Like seeing from you know pre-throw.
it's a nice catch, and they're able to pick up a big gain that way. So he did make some tough throws down the stretch. The idea that Herbert was just falling apart, to me, is just not true. Like this one was another one a little bit later on, so now they're only up 10 points. I mean, they did get a field goal at a certain point. Obviously, you want more than that, but here it's a 3rd down and 9 situation. Herbert takes a snap, and since it is man coverage, you're going to see that he kind of is it when he's able to get outside the pocket, he realizes, hey, no one's looking in my direction, right? Everyone's covering the guy they're supposed to cover, with the exception of a couple of players, really one player.
Yeah, what will be nasty right here? Obviously, you keep rolling out. You got all the space, but if he just did like a quick spin, boom, and just roll back out this way, I just think that'd be nasty. But that's like some Kyler Murray type stuff.
Everyone else is covering somebody. Because of that, Herbert is able to scramble
Okay,
up, and he
okay,
does
okay.
pick up this 1st down. So
It's a good pickup.
you had that, which this resulted in a missed field goal that happened. So again, in the quote unquote horrible stretch in the second half, he had 4 possessions, 2 of which were field goal attempts. Only 1 went in, and then there were 2 punts. What happened on the drives where things went horribly wrong and they weren't able to score any points? Well, this actually they did kick a field goal on, but this plays hard to really. I mean, again, ultimately, it's a play you have to make, but it's a 3rd down and 11. It's going to be man coverage. You see the route that Herbert believes his receiver is running. when this play begins, you're going to see that right here. So receiver towards the outside of numbers is about to cut right past the first down marker. So Herbert's got to make that throw, right? Well, when Herbert throws it there, receiver kept running straight. They weren't on the same page. Listen, that might be Herbert's fault. That might not be. I don't know, right? But certainly just kind of a bad break to have the miscommunication happen.
Ball, the Chargers your squad. That's your team.
Might not be. I don't know, right? But certainly
That's tough.
it's kind of a bad break to have the miscommunication happen in that big of a spot where now you have to give the ball back to Jacksonville. This was in the third quarter. You also have this one where it's actually going to be zone coverage this time. Again, Jacksonville down 10 points, 3rd down and 3. So, ideally you would like to be able to get a touchdown, make it 17. But even just getting another 3 points would certainly.
I think he's just trying to like the purpose of the video. I think is just making the case for Justin or verifying that it was Justin's fault. I don't know. It looked like he missed some throws, so
help here. You are in field goal range.
I'm curious what he's going to end this with.
And there's pressure pretty quickly. So what do you do if you're Justin Herbert? Well, hey, he's able to get outside the pocket. He's going to look down the field. He fires one down the field trying to make something happen, and just there's nothing available. Would not work. It is what it is. But again, hard to blame him too much for that one. And even the biggest spot in the game for him. Heading over here, you have a
Commander's got a tough pass.
He got sacked almost immediately on the first down, so they were able to get a few yards, but still had a 3rd and 13 now to have to deal with. Herbert takes the snap, and there just isn't anything open down the field. At this point, he's looking down the field. There is nothing available, so what do you do? Well, you kind of just have to throw the check down. That's what Herbert decides to do, and that was the last play he had of the season. I mean, the Jaguars got the stop. They got the ball back, killed the clock, scored 3 points, and won the game. Like, listen, I'm not saying he was absolutely perfect in this game, but I do have to say, going back and watching this, it's just not true that
hopefully I'm going to start going earlier, bro. Hopefully.
Game. Again, yes, they blew a 27-point lead, but keep in mind, part of how it happened was the Jaguars scored a touchdown at the end of the first half, and then the Chargers had 4 possessions in the second half.
I ain't gonna lie, bro. It sounded like he defending Herbert, but what is the defense, though?
Again, yes, they blew a 27-point lead, but keep in mind, part of how it happened was the Jaguars scored a touchdown at the end of the first half, and then the Chargers had 4 possessions in the second half, 2 of which were punts and 2 of which were field goal attempts. One of those missed. Again, yes, it was a complete disaster, but going back and watching this game, again, the Jaguars legitimately were perfect in their final 5 possessions. To me, that is much bigger the story. People like to throw it onto the pile because he has never won a playoff.
I'm going to join in a second. Actually, crazy you didn't like that game. I'm going to join in a second. I'm almost done with this here.
Game, and because he did legitimately play bad in a playoff game earlier. But we can't just say things because it helps our argument, right? They have to be true things. And no, he was totally fine in this game and played well enough to win. And the defense, which was awesome in the first half, was a disaster in the second half.
Okay, so we're blaming it on the defense. I mean, obviously that's fair. But again, them only scoring a field goal, it's like you got to put some blame on him. Some. Not like for sure we're not gonna put all of it, but we gotta put some. You know what I mean?
And that's the main reason they lost is, to me, this is the Brandon Staley loss, not a Justin Herbert loss. But that's just how I see it. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from y'all. Of course, as always.
Shout out to Jackson. I mean, I think you got to put some blame on Herbo. And again, I'm not gonna put a whole bunch of it on him. He missed some throws here and there, but I mean, I think heavily that actually comes down to play calling more than anything. I think he's a talented quarterback. I think it come down to play calling concepts, and for defense to give up 4 straight drives with touchdowns, I guess you could say like 75% of it on defense. We can do 10 or 15 on Herbo, and then do the rest on the OC or head coach play calling. But y'all let me know your thoughts in the comment section on that. I don't really have a opinion on that. I respect Herbert, but it considering the fact that again they had 4 straight drives with touchdowns, you know what I'm saying? That's a majority of that goes on the defense. They should have like clocked that, like tried to like chew clock. That's what they should have did. But hey, it what it is.